Good day, everybody. Welcome to the Bible in a Year 2021. And this is day 201. And we are going to embark on another prophet here. We're going to look at Hosea, because Hosea was a prophet at the same time around the time of Hezekiah. And we're going to look at chapters 1 through 7, and then tomorrow we will finish off with Hosea. So just a couple of days with Hosea. So we pick it up in chapter 1 here, and in verses 2 and 3. Yeah, this is an awkward moment. This is Hosea first hears from the Lord, and this is the first thing the Lord says to him. When the Lord first spoke through Hosea, the Lord said to him, "Go, marry a prostitute and have children of prostitution. For the people of the land commit great prostitution by deserting the Lord." So Hosea went and took Gomer, Diblam's daughter, and she became pregnant and bore him a son. This goes against the law. This goes against the things that had been put in place. This even recognizing prostitution, and yet Hosea listens. He doesn't argue like Peter argued. "No way, Lord, this is unclean. I can't do this." That conversation was there, but that would be maybe a disservice to Hosea, because we have no details like that. All we know is the Lord spoke, and Hosea did exactly what he said. But if Hosea was a proper Jew, this would have been very disdainful to him. But Hosea is a prophet, and the prophets no longer owned their own life. They were in service to the Lord. And as we have read, there are some really bizarre things they had the prophets do to underline, exclamation mark, the thing that was being said. And the thing that we'll notice with Hosea is that every time bad news was given, as in what's coming, he also gave the good news of what would come after the bad stuff. So we read here in verses 10 to 11, "Yet the number of the people of Israel will be like the sand of the sea, which can be neither measured nor numbered. And in the place where it was said to them, 'You are not my people,' it will be said to them, 'Children of the living God.' The people of Judah and the people of Israel will be gathered together, and they will choose one head. They will become fruitful in the land. The day will be a wonderful one for Jezreel." So good news, but they have to go through this valley first. And we see in chapter 2, verse 9 to 10, that correction has a purpose. And the purpose of the correction was to reveal, because you had to reveal the poison. You had to expose the rot and the ugliness. It's like when you're renovating, you open up the house and you find rot. You can't just close it up and pretend it's not there, because the house is going to fall down on you. So it's revealed so it can be healed. And that's what's happening here. "So now I will take back my corn in its time and my wine in its season, and I will take away my wool and my linen cloth, which were to cover her nakedness. Now I will uncover her nakedness in plain view of her lovers, and no one will rescue her from me." It would have been harsh to hear. But here again, in verse 16, 17, they were never left without the hope of restoration. "On that day, says the Lord, you will call me my husband, and no longer will you call me my Lord. I will take away the names of the Baals from her mouth, and they will not be mentioned by name anymore." And this should remind us of the words of Jesus when he said that he would no longer call his disciples servants, but he would call them friends, because the master doesn't reveal his will to servants, but he does to friends. So in chapter 3, verses 1 to 2, again, we find this thing, like, it's like, what? you know, and they're going to extremes here. He goes to extremes to make a point. Then the Lord said to me again, go make love to a woman who was a lover and is involved in adultery, just as the Lord loves the people of Israel, though they turn to other gods and love raisin cakes. So I bought her for 15 pieces of silver, a large amount of barley, and a portion of wine. Just to make a point. So then we have this terrible word in verse 1 of chapter 4. Hear the Lord's word, people of Israel. For the Lord has a dispute with the inhabitants of the land. There's no faithful love or loyalty, and no knowledge of God in the land. And the emphasis throughout this prophet is about the faithful love and the loyalty. In verse 2 to 3, swearing, lying, murder, together with stealing and adultery are common. Bloody crime followed by bloody crime. Now, I want you to remember what the world was like before Israel. The lying, the stealing, the adultery, the murders that were taking place, and these things sickened Yahweh. So he raised up Israel so that they would be a righteous nation, and he gave them a righteous law, which defined what relationship was supposed to look like, and things like lying, and like, it's right there. Don't lie, don't steal, don't kill, don't covet. Don't take your your neighbor's wife. Like, all of this is here to demonstrate that those things were not acceptable in relationship. So swearing, lying, murder, together with stealing and adultery are common. Bloody crime followed by bloody crime. Therefore, the earth itself becomes sick. All of creation is affected by us. Look around. What do we find? We find entire species are gone. They just don't exist anymore. The very lungs of this earth are being chopped down and destroyed so crops can be planted. Like, it's just our self-centeredness. We can't see the end of our noses. We have no vision. We have no ability to see past ourselves, and we're destroying creation, and all these things, they impact the creation around us. Therefore, the earth itself becomes sick, and all who live on it grow weak, together with the wild animals and the birds in the sky. Even the fish of the sea are dying. I really believe that a lot of this has to do with today, because Hosea, just like prophets, prophesied things for today, for tomorrow, and in the distant future. Even the fish of the sea are dying. Here we see that knowledge is only a beginning, and they even rejected that in verse 6 of chapter 4. My people are destroyed from lack of knowledge. Since they have rejected knowledge, so I will reject you from serving me as a priest. Since you have forgotten the instruction of your God, so also I will forget your children. I was reading a conversation today where a person was renouncing their faith, and somebody had offered to help them walk through a better understanding of the word, and they turned around and said, no, you don't understand. I have my degree in theology. So they have plenty of knowledge. So knowledge is the beginning part, but that knowledge is useless outside of relationship. We got to remember that. But even this beginning point, just having this knowledge, they even rejected the knowledge of God. In verse 7, we have to remember that we carry the glory of Yahweh in this world. The more they increased, the more they sinned against me. They exchanged their glory for shame. That's what's incredible. He called them up to this high place. He gave them so much. He called them holy. He called them righteous. He gave them righteous laws. He gave them things so that they could succeed, so they could prosper, so that his glory would be revealed. And they handed that all in for lesser things. It's like somebody who wants to give you $1 million mansion, and you turn around and you decide that you'd rather live in a shack. Yeah, that's what it's like. Hosea 5:6. It's just the Lord is letting them know it's just too late, guys. It's just too late. You've gone too far. With their sheep and their cattle, they will go to seek the Lord, but they will not find him. He has withdrawn from them. In chapter 6, we see here that there's even a refusal to turn to the only one who could help. Come, let's return to the Lord, for it is he who has injured us and will heal us. He has struck us down, but he will bind us up. After 2 days, he will revive us. On the third day, he will raise us up so that we may live before him. But even this they rejected. And we see here in verse 4 that the Lord wants something authentic. From the very beginning with Adam in the garden, Yahweh sought authentic. He wanted authentic love. And that's why he gave us a free will, because it is only in freedom that we can express love. And we see here in verse 4, Ephraim, what will I do with you? Judah, what will I do with you? Your love is like a morning cloud, like the dew that vanishes quickly. So that infidelity again, that lack of loyalty. In verses 6-7, we see again with Yahweh, it's always relationship over sacrifice. I desire faithful love and not sacrifice, a knowledge of God instead of entirely burned offerings. But like Adam, they broke the covenant. Then they acted in bad faith against me. And this fact right here, that they were lost. They were lost without realizing it. In verse 8-9, Ephraim mixes himself among the people. Ephraim is like flatbread that is cooked on only one side. Strangers have eaten up his strength, yet he doesn't know it. Gray hairs are sprinkled here and there upon him, yet he doesn't know it. In verse 13 of chapter 7, we see that there's no honesty in relationship. Doomed to them, for they have strayed from me. Destruction will be their lot because they have rebelled against me. I would redeem them, but they speak lies against me. In verse 14, again, refusing to turn to the one who loves them. They don't cry to me from the heart, but they sob upon their beds. They fight over grain and wine. They resist me. Yeah, kind of heavy. It's really heavy, as much as he brings in that positive vibe as well about what will happen afterwards. He paints the reality of the situation right now, how they have offended Yahweh and all the things that they have done wrong. Okay, so I leave that with you. Just know that we are the redeemed of the Lord, and we do not want to lose our first love, and we want to honor him every single day, and we want to keep that fresh and alive, and just have conversation with him today. You guys be blessed, be encouraged, and we'll catch up with each other tomorrow. God bless.